There aren't that many spaces in a home which each child can call their own. This is the one space in this home which is uniquely theirs. What we have to be really careful of when we're designing rooms is designing a room for a child that encompasses everything child-friendly. The desk and the play area and the bed and just everything for that child. Whereas it's not a child's space, it's a child bedroom. So everything you do in that space needs to be something that encourages the sleep process, because we all know how important sleep is. Having said that, you may have a home where you don't have enough space to have a separate playroom or somewhere else where you can store your children's toys. So ultimately, you can create a space in a child's room where there is the ability to have their toys and the ability to play, but to make sure they're stored away in such a way that actually when they do go to sleep, the child is associating restfulness with sleep as opposed to play with sleep. Stimulation for both adults and children is not great just before sleep. So it's funny because we're talking about this, and in fact, stimulation can come in so many different forms. So yes, if you have toys in the room, that's stimulation. If you have a desk in the room, that's stimulation. But also, sometimes design can affect the stimulation. So, if you go all out and say, well, my child loves, Power Rangers this week, and you've got Power Rangers all over the wall, you have to wonder whether that's a relaxing thing to go to sleep to. Staring at these massive posters, which frankly are stimulating your child's sense of action, their sense of joy, their sense of pleasure. Actually what you want to do is really have a calming space for a child. I think you can involve your child in the design decisions without making it too childish. You don't need brightly colored posters on the wall with different characters to make it unique to that child. We underestimate how much children enjoy beauty. Children are not necessarily childish in their design style, so don't assume they are. They may be, but they aren't necessarily. We're always looking for things to do with our children, and what lovelier thing to do with them than kind of sit and show them a range of different colors and ask them how they feel about each color and what thoughts and feelings they have when they look at each different color. And that could be with a red or a yellow or a navy or a green or a blue or whatever color it is. Maybe look at those colors together and ask them which is their preference instead of only picking your own. It's a really lovely way to get them involved in the process, but also it hopefully prevents them at a later date saying, I don't love this color anymore. So it's a really great way to, prevent issues later on, but also it's a nice way to sort of bond with your child and create an experience. A child's bedroom is a transitional space, so you have to be aware of that, and you have to take in so many different things. Not only, would I say don't put in a red bus and, a green car. I mean, you can, of course, and look, they look fun and they look lovely, but, if this is a room that you want to keep in the long term and you don't want to continuously change it, then do think about the fact that it is a transitional space. Door handles. People like to have really low door handles or wardrobe handles when their children are quite small, but your 5-year-old turns into a 10-year-old at some point, and they do grow. You may need lower shelves today and slightly higher shelves tomorrow. And so maybe designing or having a bespoke wardrobe or having, a less expensive, not bespoke wardrobe that has non-permanent shelves in is a sort of better way of making sure that actually you can change that shelving layout as the child grows up. A really lovely thing to do is to make sure that that child's wallpaper is wipeable, is potentially a vinyl wallpaper or, just any type of wipeable wallpaper. Fabrics should be a consideration. There are certain fabrics that will clean the air of the room. A natural wool will actually absorb toxins from potentially the paint and from the paste that you've used on the wallpaper. And these are very real toxins. We call them VOCs. They are toxins that are emitted in any space, but in a child's room in particular, where that child is sleeping for 8+ hours a night, you've got to be more concerned about, what's toxic in that room. Wool is a naturally fire retardant fabric. Now, call me crazy, but as a mummy, one of the things I panic about at nighttime is fires. I mean, we panic about fire safety all the time, making sure we have fire retardant fabrics in the room is incredibly important. Now, of course, you can treat any fabric and make it a fire retardant fabric, but once you've treated it, that fabric is then full of chemicals. So, for a child, I think you really want to consider natural fabrics that are naturally fire retardant. Warm and amber lighting actually allows our bodies and our children's bodies to naturally release melatonin, which is really what helps us sleep the best. If you're someone that has trouble getting your children to sleep, amber lighting, amber night lights, amber side table lights are a great way to encourage your child to get to bed on time. If you have a single bed for a child, and many of us do, is rather than to have a standard size pillow, to actually have a king size pillow, because that will go the whole way across the bed. And in fact, if you're saying goodnight to your child or you are reading them a bedtime story, it's a great way to have something to lean on for both of you, as opposed to just the child, who ends up, of course, taking the pillow.